Kurdish Victims Fund Court Report 14 Murder by Fake Drugs. That is what the United States National Institute of Health calls counterfeiting of medicines. Another name for it is fraud in a bottle, fueled by ruthless greed. The Barzani criminal enterprise is a major counterfeiter of medicines, and these tough words of several government agencies describe the evil deeds of the lucrative but harmful fake medicine business of the Barzani criminal enterprise. Masoud Barzani, Masroor Barzani, Waisi Barzani, and their family members and criminal co-conspirators value money over the health and safety of the Kurds. In our last broadcast, we reported to the public on the counterfeiting of U.S. brand cigarettes by the Barzani continuing criminal enterprise. Today we report on the massive allegations in U.S. federal court against the Barzani regime for counterfeiting U.S. brand pharmaceuticals, known as fake drugs. This is a small part of the Barzani global criminal enterprise abuse of power and which is uncovered and exposed in this case. In their dirty pursuit of illegal money, they sacrifice the health of Kurdish citizens as they ignore and violate the rules of international order, the law of nations, and countless United States laws. Expressing alarm over this, some U.S. members of Congress call this a human rights abuse that is barbaric. To address this dangerous problem, 2 U.S. senators last month introduced legislation to stiffen penalties for those who make counterfeit drugs, including the Barzani criminal enterprise. Substantial evidence has been assembled from confidential human sources about present-day ongoing Barzani criminal enterprise corruption directly stealing from U.S. pharmaceutical companies and harming their U.S. owners. Added to this are evidence documents from the United States government, the United Nations, the International Anti-Counterfeiting Coalition, and the International Criminal Police Organization. And the evidence does not lie. Specifics of the Barzani massive ongoing anti-American corruption by the Barzani regime are now for the first time being publicly presented to the United States District Court in Washington, D.C. and to the American Congress. Counterfeiting of American products is in effect stealing from American citizens who own those companies. Masroor Barzani is a United States person who professes loyalty to the United States and has sworn an oath to uphold United States laws, yet he intentionally violates hundreds of these laws. Besides stealing from the pharmaceuticals license owners, counterfeit medicine has the potential to be very harmful. From raw materials to manufacturing and distribution, plenty of opportunities exist for providing fake or mislabeled materials which can't properly treat the disease and lead to terrifying life-threatening health and safety risks, and even the gruesome outcome of death. Many counterfeit drugs actually contain actively harmful and substandard ingredients. Nobody inspects the fake medicines of the Barzani criminal enterprise. The World Health Organization, a global United Nations agency, characterizes those who engage in counterfeit medicines as killers of people who did nothing to bring death upon themselves. All of the illegal counterfeiting of medicines has occurred at a time Masoud Barzani was president of the Kurdistan regional government, and Masroor Barzani was and is prime minister of the Kurdistan regional government, the presiding and actual head of government and head of the executive power. They have used and are using that power of government office to mastermind the highly lucrative criminal counterfeiting of American brand medicines and to hide behind official offices from any accountability. They will now be held accountable in the United States District Court of Washington, D.C. Barzani's criminal co-conspirator Sarwar Paydawi, who serves as an economic advisor to the president of the Kurdistan regional government, oversees financial elements of the Barzani continuing criminal enterprise, including counterfeiting of pharmaceuticals. Shaimal Johar Salin manages counterfeiting of pharmaceuticals, knowingly violates U.S. trade laws, regulations, agreements, and intellectual property rights, and undermines and impairs trusted medicine supply chains, and knowingly and intentionally thereby defrauds and deprives U.S. license holders and product manufacturers of substantial revenue, earnings, and profits for shareowners. These profits have been diverted to the Barzani criminal enterprise to unlawfully enrich Masoud Barzani, Masroor Barzani, Waisi Barzani, and Barzani family members. The Kurdish Victims Fund has informed the United States federal court that confidential human sources who are inside the Barzani regime and have direct access to senior-ranking KRG officials say that medicine counterfeiting produces a minimum of $20 million per month revenue for the Barzani criminal enterprise. The principal pharmaceuticals counterfeited by the Barzani criminal enterprise are only legally manufactured by Pfizer, an American multinational pharmaceutical and biotechnology corporation headquartered in New York City and publicly owned by millions of shareowners, each of whom are financially damaged by the Barzani's crimes. In addition to its own counterfeit Pfizer products, the Barzani criminal enterprise, directed by Masroor Barzani and operated by Shaimal Johar Saleen and Sarwar Paydawi, illegally and without any license, exports legitimate Pfizer pharmaceuticals from Turkey to Erbil, Kurdistan, where it illegally markets and distributes them. These unlawful actions by the Barzani criminal enterprise deprives Pfizer of sales revenue and provides the Barzani criminal enterprise with the means to fund its criminal operations, including paying the costs of hit men to murder and sow fear to the political opposition to the Barzani criminal enterprise. Another American pharmaceutical counterfeited by the Barzani criminal enterprise, Eli Lilly Medicines. The procedure to unlawfully profit from counterfeiting Lilly Medicines is essentially the same as that for Pfizer. The Barzani criminal enterprise operates without any required license or legal authority, and the Barzanis know it. Again, there is no safety inspection. For Masood Barzani, Masroor Barzani, Waisi Barzani, and their family and criminal co-conspirators, the health of people does not matter. For them it is all about money, money, money. The Kurdish Victims Fund case is now exposing all the crimes of the Barzani criminal enterprise to the highest officials in the United States government.